Okay, hi. This is our project for the week. It is a small oak and probably other wood little dresser of a sort. It's very small. It might make a good entryway piece. It's shaped nicely that it seems when you first look at it that, oh, wouldn't that make a cute bathroom, sink area cabinet, but it's too short. And I don't want to have to put big tall legs on it. I don't really know where it originated from. I got it from a dealer who had it in a barn, and he got it from someone who also had it in their barn. So that's all I know about the piece. It is a machined dovetail joinery with a, it looks like the bottom has already been replaced once with some kind of cardboard material, like a hardboard. The bottom of the dresser was, I removed it. It's just kind of junk. And I washed it. I bleached it twice, bleach and soap and water, and rinsed it off. And then I actually did it with my strong industrial Zep. And it still either has some kind of blushing on the finish, or it actually still has mildew on it that I can see. So I'm going to go to the store, to the big box store, get a couple of pieces of plywood to replace the bottom of the cabinet in the bottom of the drawer. And while I'm there, I'll get a mildew treatment spray or liquid that I can use on this, and I'll do that. I'll see what I get from there. Now, if it doesn't look like it responds, I will scrape off that finish before I sand it. And yeah, I can see that it has some separation in the pieces of oak on the top. Probably not enough to clamp it back together or anything, so I'll probably just fill that with a little shard of veneer or some wood putty, whatever looks appropriate. And I have a lot of fixes to do on this. My goal is to paint it. I'm not going to restore it. I'm just going to refinish it. It's not a fancy antique. So I don't think anyone will cry if I paint it. And yeah, not. I'll know more when I start taking it apart. But yeah, let's continue and see what we get. We're going to start by doing the mildew treatment. I'll do that off camera, but I'll show you how I cut the floor and what it looks like when we take it apart. What kind of fixes we have to do. I think this can be clamped because it's broken right here. So yeah, let's get going. Is well, I don't want it to come out all the way. So I had to sand the edges a little bit because I'm sure this cabinet isn't totally square. But I will take it out. It fits. I will take it out and mark it in the way that it fits. I'm going to spray it with a little bit of shellac, and then I am going to paint the bottom. Okay, we'll catch up. I removed the bottom of the drawer, and a few pieces came apart a little bit. So I have some repairs going on. I did a lot of fixing with some quick wood, so I'm waiting for that to dry. And yeah, I'm going to let that dry overnight. So I got them all out except for this one, and I banged it down inside, and I'm going to fill it and the other holes with some epoxy putty. And whatever, it's just going to live there because I couldn't get it out, not without sawing the leg off. But I got the other three. This one came out, and this one. So 3 out of 4 isn't bad. Put it in upside down. Okay, so I did oxalic acid on it after sanding it quite a bit, and yeah, I'm going to leave that dry until tomorrow, and then I'll see if I can't do some fine sanding on it tomorrow and then put a dark stain. Now I know it's not going to come out perfect, and you know, it has still a lot of the dings and everything in it. I'm going to leave those as just part of its look. There are so many of them. Yeah, so yep, I'm going to use a dark stain, and it will cover, you know, most of that discoloration, I think, while it will still leave the wood grain. And then we also have to fill this, but I'll do that tomorrow after it shrinks up again after being wet. I'm going over this with a 120 grit sandpaper before I do anything else. So I'm putting on about the third or fourth coat of the nice warm vanilla color that I have here from Paint Couture called Italian Ivory. It's beautiful. I already have 2 coats of primer, and I kind of lost count at the number of regular coats of paint. It has a lot of paint on it though, basically because I had to fill in a lot of holes and dents and broken pieces. And then I did my primer, and then I could see with the primer that there was more areas, there were more areas that I needed to fill. So it took several times of painting and sanding, and that's why. So to get a clear coverage with the final coats, I needed to just add quite a few coats of paint. So I want to stain the top a dark, and this is the VAR oil stain in the color chocolate, but it's a little bit too dark. So I am going to add the remainder of a can of the premium teak, which has a nice reddish color to it. I think what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to tint the teak with the chocolate because darker colors tend to have more dominance over the lighter colors. I can see the difference here. If you notice, I put the stain on the edges last, and that's because they're unpredictable, pretty much unpredictable about how they're going to pick up. And some of it's predictable. If it's an end grain, you know that it's going to soak up that stain. But the way this was cut, whole boards, and it goes, um, the horizontal and vertical with the short side and the long side, and each side picks up a little bit differently. So what you really need to do is concentrate on doing the top and then go around the edges and just do them a little bit at a time so that you can catch any super absorption right away and wipe it down. I had to keep adding it and adding it, but it was okay, and added a few spots on the top, and it came out just the way I wanted it. It's not a perfect piece, and it's an old piece with a lot of damage, so I think it's as good as it gets. So yeah, I have one decoupage paper. Let me come back a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking this is the upright way. I mean, technically it's this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put half on one side and half on the other in the in-between sections. So yeah, I am going to take it out of the plastic, then I'm going to cut it, and then I'm going to fit it in these insets. So yeah, I think that will be nice. I'm going to actually cut it so that it fits in there. I'm going to want this to the edge. So, and then this one will go over to this edge. Yeah. Just have a little extra down the bottom that I'm going to have to cut out with my razor. Just following this line. I am going to go over it afterwards. Okay. So we're really going all out with the decoupage here because these drawers are in such, not the drawers, but the whole piece is in such kind of sad condition. And yeah, so I'm going to make her as cute as I can. And then we're going to antique it and make it look like she's always looked this way. So yeah, yes, I'm going to go for something like this. So I leave this kind of loose because we'll just sand off the edges. Yeah, I might go right to the top here. Although I need to come to this top, so we're going to just go up a little bit. I think that's what we'll do, and then we'll get this right in the center, sort of center. Let's go a little over this way so that we can be sure we get this little name here. Yeah. So now this is a little more careful because the paper is so thin. I just have to be super careful with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the Mod Podge all over the side, and I'm going to aim for placing it the first time down. So I'm going to be pretty deft on what I'm doing here. Okay. So I'm going to measure with my fingers on the edge here. Okay. Very gently. Just come down. Just the softest touch. Very carefully pull that back and reapply, because I did have some little air pockets there. Hopefully. I'm going to wait for this to dry, and then I'll put a spray acrylic over it. I'm not rubbing against it, I'm just simply pushing. There we go. I'm going to leave that so it doesn't tear. It's very damp. Let's work on the other side. We'll let that. I'm going to use a little bit of the MinWax tongue oil finish. It's not the greatest finish. but it'll do. This isn't the greatest top. So this morning I'm going to try out some glaze. I just put some spray shellac on the top, and I will give that a light sand afterwards. And yeah, so my glaze is pink couture, and I think it's light brown sugar antiquing glaze. So we're going to try this out on the back. Yeah, we'll see. If I don't like it on the back, then I won't put any on the front. Now this has a lacquer on the finish as well. The paint does. So anything that I put on here that I don't like, I should be able to wipe off pretty easily. So to me, it looks like almost a coffee stain. Yeah. I think I like it. You know, I thought about putting this transfer on, but I'm not going to do it. Hey, you can leave me a comment. Would you put the transfer on, or would you leave it off? Leave me a comment and let me know. Thank you for watching this week's video. This week, oh, I had a heck of a time with this little cabinet. It was in such poor condition. And oh yeah, it's not perfect. I, at some point, have to give in and take these doors off and replace the hinges, because no matter what I could do, no matter what I did, I didn't get these so that they were perfect and aligned. And yeah, the hinges are a really small size. So most likely I'm going to have to carve out new places for new hinges. So that would have been a much more intensive project than it already was. Already I had to fill a lot of damage on the sides and the back and the legs. I had to replace the bottom of the drawer and repair the drawer. I had to build a new bottom inside to make it nice and clean. And of course, we had to take down the top as much as we could. And so after fixing it, which was really half the video, and I didn't even record all that it entailed, removed those ugly casters and filled in the holes. I put little feet on the bottom so it's nice and clean. I did decoupage on the sides, and I did a different decoupage on the front cabinets. And then, oh, I did decoupage on the sides of the drawer, which is really cute. So all three different patterns. And I'll list everything below the video of the products that I used. Yeah, I had these handles because I usually try to buy them in small lots um, from Derek Lawless Hardware, because they have such not only beautiful things, but they have great prices. So I like to do that. So I usually have like a certain number of things on hand. That way, when I'm looking for a knob, I don't have to wait for it to come in on an order. Sometimes I still do because I just don't have exactly what I want. But basically, it keeps me from holding up the process and waiting for hardware to come. So yeah, I had these. I think they match perfectly. And this cabinet is so cute. I thought about doing a transfer on the top, but I changed my mind. And let me know in the comments, would you do the transfer on the top or would you prefer leaving it as it is? It kind of showed you how to do, um, how to work on the grain ends when you're doing a stain. We mixed up a couple of different colors and to get the color that we wanted. So that came out nice. And I did a glaze. Glazing is something that, uh, you know, I like the look of it, but I never feel, you know how sometimes you just, certain things feel natural to you? Glazing just doesn't feel natural to me. Something that Colin was really, really good at, and he did such a beautiful job, and he knew when to do it and when not to do it. So it did change the color of the paint, but I think that this the look of the cabinet needed to be antiqued because it's not a perfect look. It still has a lot of its personality. So I think the glazing was a good choice, even though it was hard to do. So thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, would you click the thumbs up button and consider subscribing because it helps the video get shown out by YouTube and helps the channel to grow. I want you to have a great rest of your weekend. And yeah, thank you. And I wish you all good and beautiful things. Even old things can be beautiful. Take care.